صباح الخير أعزائي الطلبة. Back again with part 3 of relative clauses. Today we are going to study the relative adverbs where, when, and why. Let's start with where. Where is used in an adjective clause to modify a place like city, country, room, house, etc. Look at this example sentence. The building is very old. He lives there. The building is very old. He lives there. There refers to that building. So we want to define the building. This sentence modifies a place. So let's join the sentence with where. Sentence A with where. The building where he lives is very old. The building where he lives is very old. We said before that the relative pronoun should follow the noun. If where is used, a preposition is not included in the adjective clause. The adjective clause is where he lives. So again, if where is used, a preposition is not included in the adjective clause. Now, there in the sentence, as we said, modifies a place. So no need to use there in the sentence because we used where. Now, it's possible to use which instead of where in the above sentence. But we have to use which with a preposition to show a place. And the common preposition which shows a place is in. This is the common preposition which shows a place, in. Notice the sentence now with which and a preposition in B. The building which he lives in is very old. The building which he lives in is very old. If the preposition in is used after which, this is informal English. Look at in, the preposition in is used after which. The building which he lives in is very old. This is informal English. We can use the preposition in before which. And in this case, if a preposition preceding which, it is formal in English. So we say, in C, the building in which he lives is very old. We used in before which. Now you can join both sentences in another way. Look at D. The building he lives in is very old. The building he lives in is very old. We are modifying the building, and the building is an object in this sentence because he lives in the building. He is the subject. So the building is the object. Therefore, we can drop where here, but keep the preposition. Again, the sentence is the building he lives in is very old. Also, you can use that instead of where. That is possible instead of where. E, the building that he lives in is very old. With that, keep the preposition in. So again, the building that he lives in is very old. Let's move now into another adverb, which is when. When is used in an adjective clause to modify a noun of time. A noun of time, like year, day, time, century, and so on. Look at this sentence. I never forget the day. I met you on that day. I'll never forget the day. I met you on that day. So let's use when now to join both sentences and what changes are made. The day is repeated in both sentences, so we want to define the day. Use the relative adverb when after the day. So the sentence becomes like I'll never forget the day when I met you. I'll never forget the day when I met you. We are modifying the day, so don't repeat on that day. We delete on that day. No preposition with when. Be careful. No preposition with when. Let's use the sentence with which instead of when. But with which, you have to use a preposition. And the common preposition that shows time is on. Let's use the preposition on with which. Look at B. I never forget the day on which I met you. On which we use the preposition on before which. And this is formal in English. Or you can say like C, I never forget the day which I met you on. This is informal English. It's possible to use that. Look at D. I never forget the day that I met you. Again, I never forget the day I met you. And also you can drop the relative adverb. In this sentence, we are modifying the day. Look at the second sentence. I met you on that day. So I is the subject and the day is the object. Therefore, you can drop the relative adverb when. And the sentence is like E. I'll never forget the day I met you on. Here, don't forget to use the preposition on when you drop the relative adverb. Now, the relative adverb why. Why is used for reason, usually after the word reason. It can be replaced by that or can be omitted. Why can be omitted. For example, being sick was the reason why she was absent. We say the reason why. It's possible to use that. And we say being sick was the reason that. Also that follows the reason. Being sick was the reason that she was absent. Or being sick was the reason she was absent. We didn't use why here or that. We dropped why and that. Being sick was the reason she was absent. She is the subject, so the reason is the object. Therefore, you can drop why here, and this is called reduced clause. Reduced clause, it means we don't use any relative pronoun or adverb. We dropped why and we dropped that in this sentence, and this is called reduced clause. Now, the last point is with whom. We studied whom before. Note that we can also use whom with a preposition. Look at this sentence. She is the woman. I told you about her. Her refers to the woman. Look at about. About is a preposition. So about is a preposition. Her refers to the woman. And we want to define the woman. Let's join the sentences, these two sentences with whom. Don't forget that whom replaces object pronouns. And we have studied this before. Look at sentence A. She is the woman whom I told you about. So drop her here because we used the woman. And notice that whom is used after the woman. Or like B, you can say, she is the woman about whom I told you. This is formal English. Use about before whom, about whom I told you. Or you can delete whom because it defines an object. I is the subject. If you delete whom here, you have to keep the preposition about. Keep about. So the sentence like C, she is the woman I told you about. She is the woman I told you about. Now, let's practice an exercise about using relative pronouns and relative adverbs. إذا حبايبي الطلبة خلينا هلا نتدرب على exercise. درسنا relative pronouns واليوم درسنا relative adverbs. So let's practice doing this exercise about relative pronouns and adverbs. Fill in the blanks with the correct relative pronoun or adverb. رح نوضح بكل جملة ليه اخترنا الجواب الصحيح من بين قوسين. Look at sentence number 1. I like the boy you brought to the house. We are defining the boy. The boy is someone. And the relative pronoun that defines a person is which one? Whom, which, or whose? It's whom, of course. So whom defines object pronouns. And whose is used for position. We want to define the boy again. احنا عم نعرف the boy. So حنختار the relative pronoun المناسب لتعريف the boy. The boy is someone whom. I like the boy whom, let's write whom, you brought to the house. In this sentence, who defines an object? The boy is an object. I is the subject. So therefore we can drop whom and say the sentence without whom. إذا إحنا بنقدر to drop whom رح نحطها هيك بين قوسين. That means you can drop whom. Whom defines the boy. The boy is an object. Okay, we can say the sentence without whom. I like the boy you brought to the house. It's correct. Sentence 2. That's the man to. I wrote a letter. To is a preposition. انتبهوا, to is a preposition. I wrote a letter. I is the subject. I wrote a letter to the man. I subject. So the man اللي بدنا نعرفها is the object. Okay, and we have a preposition in this sentence. So to define someone, we use whom. Let's write whom. That's the man to whom I wrote a letter. Okay. شرحنا حبايبي إنه بالفيديوهات السابقة whom defines an object. So you can drop whom. بقدر أترك whom. طالما في to is a preposition. So you have to keep whom مع preposition مع to حرف الجر قبل whom. We cannot drop whom. ما بقدر أشطب whom. That's the man to whom I wrote a letter. Number 3. The house I stay is here. The house I stay is here. We are defining a place. راح نعرف مكان. So we have where, whose and which. لتعريف المكان we use where. The house where I stay is here. Well, there is no preposition in this sentence, and we use which with a preposition. So we cannot choose which. ليه ما اخترنا which؟ which تحتاج preposition حرف جر معها. بقدر أعرف مكان ب which لكن لازم يكون معها preposition حرف جر. So here we use where to define a place. The house is a place. The house where I stay is here. Okay, number 4. I know the woman child was hurt. I know the woman child. يعني كأننا عم نقول the woman's child, her child. So this sentence shows position. So we use whose. Let's write whose. I know the woman whose child was hurt. انتبهوا إنه child noun. Whose is always followed by a noun. Child is the noun. This sentence shows position. Okay, 5. I still remember the day I met you. The day is time. بدنا نعرف the day. The day is time. And the relative adverb that defines time is when. I still remember the day when I met you. So when. Don't choose which, because which needs a preposition. In this sentence there is no preposition. بهاي الجملة ما عندنا حرف جر. So لازم أستخدم when. لو كانت I met you on أختار which. Okay. Can we say the sentence without when? يعني can we say I still remember the day I met you? Yes. We can use, we can drop when, لكن لازم أرجع the preposition on. So I still remember the day I met you on. Or which I met you on. لكن مع when, don't use a preposition. Number 6. That's the actor won the prize. So بدنا نعرف actor. Actor is someone. Okay, well, relative pronoun يلي بيعرف someone is who. That's the actor who won the prize. So let's write who. طيب إذا سألت نفسك who won the prize? The actor. So the actor is subject. وللسبجكت استخدم who. Okay. أكيد مش whose ولا which. Number 7. The clothes you left behind are there. We want to define clothes. Clothes is something. For objects or things, we use which. So the clothes which you left behind are there. أكيد مش whose ولا who. Okay. Can we drop which? بقدر أشيل which? Yes. We say the clothes you left behind are there. You is the subject. إذن حتكون which عم بتعرف clothes و clothes is object. So بقدر أشيل which. خلينا نحطها between brackets طالما you can drop which. Number 8. The boy plays with our team went out. The boy plays with our team went out. Who plays with your team or our team? The boy. إذن the boy subject. حنختار who. طالما عم بعرف someone, the boy is subject. So use who. The boy who plays with our team went out. لاحظوا whose with apostrophe. احنا اخترنا who. Okay. Whom for objects. whom عم بتعرف object. احنا غالبا حنختار who for subject pronouns. who W-H-O for subject pronouns. whom W-H-O-M for object pronouns. طب ليه ما اخترنا who as بالأخيرة؟ هلا who as is different from who. هاي مختلفة، هاي مش relative pronoun. whose الأخيرة refers إما ل who is أو sometimes who has. So الأخيرة أعزائي الطلبة ما إلهاش علاقة بدرسنا relative pronouns. Be careful. 9. I visited the city the Romans built. We want to define the city. رح نعرف city. The Romans built. يعني the Romans built the city. So بهاي الجملة نحن مش عم نعرف مكان. The Romans built the city. عشان هيك ما رح نختار where. الجملة مش عم بتعرف مكان. I visited the city. كمان مرة رح نعرف the city. So هنختار which. In this case. I visited the city the Romans built. Or I visited the city which the Romans built. You can drop which. ليه بقدر أشطب which؟ لأنه the Romans subject, the city is object. طالما which عم بتعرف object the city, so you can drop it. 10. The factory my father works is dirty. In this sentence, we modify a place, the factory. يعني كأنك عم بتقول my father works in the factory. So this is place. والrelative adverb يلي بيعرف مكان place where. My father, the factory where my father works is dirty. كمان مرة the factory where my father works is dirty. كمان مرة as if you are saying the factory my father works in. So it's a place. وعشان نعرف place we use where. Okay. Why didn't we use or choose which? ليه ما اخترنا which؟ لأنه which رح تحتاج ل preposition. وin this sentence we don't have a preposition. So we chose where. 11. This is Mr. John runs that school. Who runs that school? Mr. John. So Mr. John is the subject. And for defining a subject, we use who for someone. So who? This is Mr. John who runs that school. Okay, look at this sign between brackets. هاي العلامة اللي بين قوسين. It means إذا أنت لقيت هاي العلامة بين الخيارات. This sign means you can use nothing. ما بتقدر تستخدم أو إنه ممكن to drop any relative pronoun أو adverb in the sentence. يعني we don't use a relative pronoun or relative adverb. Okay. إن شاء الله بالفيديو الأخير حبايبي الطلاب رح نكمل الجزء الأخير من relative clauses. حيكون درسنا على defining و non-defining مع practicing exercises. Thank you so much.